you want to get over the past, you want to get over toxic relationships with people in general, but you're not letting go of the feelings that it causes you to feel. You decide not to heal, you decide to just keep it inside and keep hatred towards yourself and people together, and you decide to suppress your emotions. But I'm here to break down something, sweetheart, because healing is about feeling pain, and you should let go of the past and focus on the present. Be mindful of your goals, of your routines, and just know yourself better. Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. First of all, I want to thank you all for the endless support I'm receiving. And thank you all for 300 subscribers, because I never thought I could reach this amount of subscribers in such a short amount of time. And I thank you all for the support, the kind comments, the sweet comments. This very motivates me to generally post more and more and push more content for you guys. And this is my second long video on my YouTube channel. But before we get into the video of today, I want to promote my ebook. My ebook is a complex of poems, okay? So it's poetry that talks about emotions, reflects on a deeper level, introspection into ourselves. And I want to give a personification of this emotion in order to understand myself better, and also give advice to people so that they can understand their emotions better. And I hope that you can purchase the book. I'll put the link in description, and it's even in my bio of YouTube. It's linked to Amazon, and I just hope that you can enjoy and eventually buy it. Alright, so in today's video, I want to speak about my personal path ever since I was a child with life. Quick advertisement: my life has never been easy, okay? I always overcame struggles, but I always also had struggles, okay? Personally, as a child, I always had deep anxiety. Like, my anxiety started when I was 6 years old. I remember that my parents would bring me to the kindergarten. I would panic all of the time because I just wanted to go home, because I would rather spend time at home rather than going to the kindergarten. And ever since that time, I manifested a lot of anxiety that just amplified with the years. Also, another thing that I experienced as a kid is that, you know, when I think about my childhood, I don't necessarily think of my childhood in a negative way, you know. First of all, I've never kind of experienced having a dad, because my dad left me when I was 6 years old. And this kind of impact my emotional well-being, because, you know, when you lack the absence of a father, when you develop that issues when you grow up. But, you know, it's like in a state where I don't even miss my dad. Like, I don't like say, oh, I miss my dad, I want to call him. I just don't, because I never experienced something with him. And also, on another hand, I experienced such a great childhood for an aspect, but also a bad one, because sometimes I got peer pressured into, you know, being perfect at school, always having good grades. I was always peer pressured into being this perfect image, and this damaged me when I grew up, because I realized that this perfect image does not exist, okay? Perfectionism is the fear of your own failure. So you should accept yourself more rather than just falling into these criteria standards of perfectionism, because they don't exist. And so, yeah, as I was saying, I always had bad anxiety. I remember that also the first day of school, of elementary school, right? I was very shaking, I was panicking, because I expected the worst scenario. And this is very concerning as a kid, because, you know, kids are supposed to enjoy, have fun, and stuff like that. But in my case, it was the opposite. I was actually imagining something that could happen, but in reality, it didn't already happen. Like, yes, I experienced a bit of bullying ever since I was a kid, but it was light, okay, when I was a kid. I'm personally speaking about my childhood experience, because I think that the experiences that you feel as a child will shape your future. Like, for example, if you're a teenager, right, you might feel down out of nowhere, or you might get a random wave of sadness, random wave of anger, because those are all of the suppressed emotions that you felt as a kid. And now your brain is telling you, oh, you need to let this go, you need to let this out, and I'm doing this way. But you don't rationally understand when you're a teenager, because you're thinking of the present moment. You're thinking, right now my life is going kind of well, so I don't know why that right now I feel down, I feel sad. But all of these emotions stem from childhood. If you had trouble during childhood, you'll experience trouble also during your teenage years. Your teenage years are the years where you suffer the most because you're supposed to heal from childhood trauma, right? If you don't heal from childhood trauma, you will bring these problems until you're an adult, and these will be even worse because you're supposed to heal before that. But yeah, as a kid, I always enjoyed spending time with my mom. I was very, very attached to my mom. I was always near my mom. Like every time she stepped outside, I was outside too. Every time she stepped into a store or a place, I was there too because I saw my mom as a figure to take example of, okay? And I still love my mom. I'm very attached to my mom, and I have this attachment that, in my opinion, is kind of unhealthy because when you are too attached to someone, right, it's hard to let go. And then the brain starts thinking that when you are alone, when you're on your own, you are nothing. When in reality, you should just accept that you are alone. You should accept your struggles and face them alone most of the times, okay? So being very attached to someone can be very unhealthy. I'm not saying that attachment is bad, but if it's toxic, if it's unhealthy, like being very, very attached to the person emotionally, physically, etc., and then the person starts shifting with the behavior, starts acting differently, right? You start blaming yourself because you start thinking that you're the problem when you're not. But yeah, my path then started to get worse when I was a teenager, right? Okay, as a kid, I did not even realize I was struggling. Like, yeah, just in the present moment where I get hurt, I would cry or just express my emotions. But when I was a teenager, when I started to be a teenager, I realized that this shift was huge. Like, I started to isolate myself from my family. I started to isolate myself from social relationships. I started to not care about school grades anymore because I was too burned out to even care about it, okay? When your brain reaches a stage of burnout, right, you don't care about anything anymore. You start to isolate yourself. You start to not enjoy anything that you liked before. And all of this loop will repeat until you finally heal. Also, another thing, during my teenage years, I struggled very, very bad, and I still struggle with anxiety. Like the amount of anxiety I was getting just at the age of from 14 to 17 was insane. Like even just talking to a person through chat, for example, okay, like on social by text, that was very hard for me because I was shaking. I would have racing thoughts telling me, am I doing something wrong? Is this message okay? What does the person think? Like I was overthinking a lot for just small steps, small tasks. And this just ruined me because, when you keep on overthinking, it's like emotional abuse because you constantly carry your brain with unnecessary thoughts, negative feelings that just validate something that's not even real. And I personally thought that this shaped me as part of who I am right now, and I'm healing from this part of my life, okay? Because anxiety is a very trouble disorder sometimes, okay? Because it can limit yourself, limit your life, and it feels like you're trapped in your head sometimes, like you can't get out from this. Then I started to enter in a loop where I thought nobody cares about my life. I think that no one would care if I disappear, right? I started to experience depression because of the isolation that I was getting. And at that time, I started to make videos on TikTok because I felt that it could give me a sort of relaxation, okay? A sort of coping mechanism to cope with my depression, cope with life, cope with isolation, having a fan base that could support me. And this happened. I started posting on TikTok on 2023, on January of 2023. And I started getting my first video viral, and then people start to support me. I start to endlessly get followers, comments, likes, and I start thinking, wow, there's people who actually care about me. There's people who will support me through my journey, and this motivated me, inspired me to create more content for people. Also, in my experience with high school, okay, I personally believe that my experience with high school could have gone better if I just met a different environment, okay? Because when the people you bond with, when the people you kind of want to have a sort of friendly relationship with, you want to create friends, etc., etc., and when those people aren't available, emotionally available for you, when they're very distant for you, also emotionally, you can't really form a bond. And that's why I spent most of my like high school experience alone, It was trauma every day because I would go to school and I would sit there hoping that it could be time to just go home. But then at home I also had problems, right? Because I said that I isolated myself, and this, depressed loop kept on going and going because nobody understood, okay? I tried even opening up to my parents, to friends, to people in general, but I felt like nothing changed. And ever since that moment I start thinking, Phil, maybe nobody cares and you should care about yourself more. You should stop telling people everything about you because these people don't actually care. Also another thing is that when you struggle with something, I don't think that people actually want to help you most of the times, okay? You need to back yourself up again. You see people that are very talkative, people that are very like spend time with each other, etc., etc. Sometimes they're fake to each other, all right? They just put an image to be liked by people, okay? Because they have a fear of being alone, and so they decide, oh wait, let me put this friendly image, let me put this, let me laugh at that even if I found it unfunny. Like people do this, but personally, that's not my case. I would rather be real with no friends and just hope that I meet the right people someday, okay? And yeah, also another thing is that I personally hated the school year, right? Because I was severely bullied because of my TikTok and stuff like that. And this also led me to quit for 3 months of my TikTok, right? Because I felt threatened. I felt that I was in danger when then I realized that these people won't pay my bills at the end of the day, and caring about their opinions does not matter. I start thinking, well, if I disappear because I see that people start to throw hate on me, okay, so maybe I'm the problem. No, I'm not the problem. These people just have problems with themselves and they decide to throw hate on you because they think that this way they would cope with their problems, they would solve their problems. But if it just make them feel hollow at the end of the day. But like school wasn't the only struggle. The over struggle was also my family, as I said. As I told you, mentioned before, my dad left when I was 6 years old, right? So I never experienced anything. I never experienced feelings, emotions, something like that with my dad, okay? So my stepdad came and he replaced him as my, father, even if he was my father. But, I really never had a good relationship with my stepdad. I kind of appreciate him because, he kind of provided for me, and also my mom, they provided for me, and I'm forever grateful for my family. This is why I always give a chance to my family, and I always give a chance to people in general, because even if they did me wrong, I still believe that there's something good in them. But on the other hand, I got a lot of backlash. I got a lot of, emotional burnout from them, and sometimes I still isolate from them because I'm a person who tends to live in peace. I'm a person who doesn't want drama, who doesn't seek revenge. I'm a person who's just chill in his own bubble. But when people start to overcome, when people start to like cross my boundaries, they start to get mad at me, throw hate at me for no reason, then this actually upsets me because I'm not doing anything to you. So why do you come in my bubble to disrupt my peace? Like it just annoys me sometimes. And talking about my journey right now with healing, the biggest thing that I can tell you is restructure your mind, okay? Find a different way to cope with things, okay? You need a different mindset, okay? If you had the mindset, oh, everything is going negative, oh, I'm going to get judged, oh, these people are going to hate on me. No, it's wrong. Sweetheart, it's wrong, because you need to be strong in the mind. You need to say, I don't let the opinions of others get to me. I am going to be positive because I deserve positive things if I'm a great person. I am helping someone, so of course that these people will come to me because I'm helping them. You need to create a certain kind of mindset that helps you overcoming life struggles, okay? You need to destroy the barriers of negativity because these are the ones that limit you. Sometimes I think that our mind can be our biggest enemy, but sometimes it can also be the biggest helper. Sometimes the mind wants to, find coping mechanisms, find certain kind of strategies to help us overcoming certain things, but most of the times it feeds the mind with negative thoughts, negative feelings. It tells, oh, I'll never accomplish this kind of thing. Oh, I'll never do that. But in reality, you need to, unroot the thought, distort the thought from negative to positive. All right. You need to just switch it, because I think that the mind is such a switch, okay? When you decide to turn the negative from positive, when you start to understand where this thought stem from, okay, you can also manage to overcome everything. Personally, one thing I do is journal. I journal at night, late at night, okay, I journal my emotions. Like, how did I feel during the day? I felt, I don't know, stressed, exhausted, joyful. Why did I feel this way? What can I do to cope with these emotions? And then I give myself advices, I highlight the most important part, and then I can grow, I can expand mentally, right? Also one thing, if you are in a difficult, household, where people yell, where people just argue most of the time, my biggest advice, because I've been there, sometimes I'm still there, is try not to focus on what they say, try not to focus on the screams, on something like that. Try not to focus on the loud noises. As someone who hates very much loud noises, okay? I just, rewind my brain and tell myself, I am in the present, I'm safe. I also do exercises to calm the nervous system down. Like, sometimes you just need to grab your forehead and, put the other one below your neck. And this way you calm the nervous system down. You need to constantly find mechanisms, find strategies to deal with it, okay? Remind yourself, I'm in the present, I have this goal now, okay? Later on, I should do this thing. Establish a routine for yourself, because this way you can cope with life differently. The key behind it all is just keep yourself busy. Establish a routine that's solid for yourself, okay? You can be at peace, but on the other hand, you need to keep yourself busy. You can do both of things simultaneously, and trust it works. The key also behind it all is always keep yourself calm. Like, never see something as a threat, okay? Because the actual threat came from the person. You don't claim the negative energy that the person had coming to you. You have your pure and just positive energy, because you want to create something, you want to be a creator, you want to share something with people. Do it, but on the other hand, stay calm about it, okay? Do one thing at once, okay? Just do one thing, and all of the other things will come together to be fixed. Another thing can be, I also mentioned in the past video, but breathing exercises. Trust me, most people avoid and ignore this technique, but it helps. It helps every single time, I can tell you. You need to inhale for 4 seconds, okay, like this. Stop for 1. Exhale for 6 seconds. This technique helps calm your nervous system down, okay? Trust, start doing this at least 10 times a day, and you'll see how the nervous system will just chill. It will just put itself down. It won't send signals of threat, signals of danger anymore, because this way you remind it that you're okay, you're fine just the position you are. You don't claim any more anxiety, you don't claim any more proving, you don't claim any more negativity, you just claim positivity and looking ahead at your future. And also a good thing that you should never skip. Never stop looking at documentaries or looking at things that just, make you grow, okay, in terms of learning, okay? You need to learn about anything. You can learn about psychology, you can learn about science, you can learn about geography, something like that, okay? You can learn a subject, okay, because it helps keeping your brain active, okay? The activity starts to become healthy. You consume only positive content and not content that just at the end of the day damages you. Because I could scroll now for 12 hours looking at funny memes, okay? At first I laugh, but then after 12 hours it starts to turn into burnout, because your brain is overplaying, is overlooking at a screen, and this causes burnout to the screen, to the brain, okay? So please find a moderation. Also, never feel like ashamed or never feel like scared to manifest your real emotions. If I feel very sad, tell yourself, okay, maybe I need a good crying session that just soothes, it just cleans, it purifies my body. You feel extremely angry, okay, yes, I am this angry that I would love to push, okay, my hands towards the wall. You can tell yourself these ones, okay. You need to feel the emotions in order to heal. Suppressing the emotion won't help, okay. Telling yourself that you're okay even when you're not okay, that won't help you. It won't help you heal. In order to heal, you need to acknowledge the feeling and feel it with all of the angles, okay, with all of the visual, okay. And trust me, healing is pain, because by feeling that pain that you suppressed the past years, now you're relieving this scar, okay, and you're just feeling it with healing, okay. You're just feeling it with, I don't know, you can imagine like a plant, okay? You feed the plant with water so it grows better. The same way goes for healing, okay? You give yourself care and love and you can finally find yourself again. And yeah, just a reminder, never change, okay? Never change for anyone, never change for anybody, never settle for lower standard just because you're in an environment that does not actually comforts you at this time, okay? Life can be tough, life can be rough, but what matters is always keep yourself sane. Never lose yourself and always keep a good mindset that defeats all of the negativity and all of the pressure that you get from people, all of the negative energy you receive. Even if it's not your fault, even if you never did anything wrong, sometimes that's life, okay? You meet people who will hate, judge you for who you are because they can't accept that you're like this. What you need to do is look ahead and be confident in yourself. Be confident, just believe in yourself, believe in your core values. Give yourself a motivation, be your own coach, your own leader. Feel you should not do this. Feel, yes, you should absolutely get into this one. Like, start being a coach, a leader to yourself, a meaningful one. And yeah, another thing that could help you, for example, could be putting posters in your room, okay? I was planning to do this thing, okay? You put posters like motivational quotes or even personal ones that you can create. You hang that to your room, okay, to different spaces. And then when you come across your room and you just, lift your face to look at something like that, you remind your brain that you should behave in that way. You remind your brain that it's not as dark as the mind makes it out to be, okay? It could be a great reminder, and the more the brain absorbs these informations, the more you see the results. So you need to be constantly productive. You need to be efficient. So coming at the end of the video, I really hope that I was useful, guys, because I wanted to just share my experience fully. Like, I did not say something just because I wanted to make this video. I said because it was from my personal experience, right? I've always dealt with mental health issues. I've always dealt with, people that did not like me, that hated on me, that judged me, that did not appreciate my effort. I've met more people than positive people, actually, like that. So I can understand that, but on another hand, even if you don't have anyone, you can still have yourself. You shouldn't lose yourself just because that person stopped texting you, stopped being your friend, stopped being in a relationship with you. Move on. You have a life ahead of you. You are this young. You are supposed to live life just for yourself, even. Giving life to yourself, okay? Finding grace, self-care, love for yourself is great enough. And I do this journey because I love myself, and I start to understand that all of the pain I felt was useful to make me grow, but I never deserved, that treatment. But I let it go because it's in the past, not in the present anymore. And yeah, I hope that this video was useful for you guys to understand yourself better, to find the ways to cope with life. And I hope you like and subscribe, and bye. Love you all. And thank you for the support.